I was honest.
Yeah.
But they were looking for relationships, and I wasn't. I was looking for hit 'em and quit 'em.
Okay.
I was.
So
I was,
you just
I was,
wanted to smash. And
I was like you.
smash.
I was like Hugh
Just smash,
Hefner.
right.
I was like Hugh Hefner mixed with
Yeah.
what's the name of the guy from Star Trek?
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk.
Right. I was
Right.
honest. I'm not
Sure.
looking for nothing, but
Yeah.
deep down inside, the reason I was doing that, it wasn't for love.
Yeah.
It was because I can, and now I can do it.
Sure.
And I could get this one, I could get that one. In the barracks, they used to, the NCOs, when I lived in the barracks, they'd be like, don't bring the new female soldiers around them guys, because we used to call it in processing.
Mhm.
We used to in process them on the first
Right.
night.
Wow.
You come around me, you're gonna go and get in process.
Yeah. What does in process mean?
Oh, you know what in process.
So for the people, no, for the people
For
who
the
don't know,
military,
in
in process
process
is when the military in process, I mean, when the soldier first come to the unit, they get established and they pretty much get all of their paperwork in order so they could become one with the unit and they could be
Right.
legit.
Right.
My version of in process was we walked into the barracks and I had a piece of them.
Uh-huh.
And we were doing
Right.
that all the time. And it was just to the point where it was just like, it was nothing.
Got you.
And
Yeah.
deep down inside, I think it was because I was overcompensating all that time for
Yeah.
people saying you couldn't do it. You're
Absolutely.
You're this. You're
Absolutely,
that.
man.
And now these people coming up to me,
Yeah.
and everybody know in Germany what
Sure.
it is.
Yeah.
Everybody know it's the truth. It's a black man's paradise. The females in the barracks, they just lucky to get a guy.
Right.
When we go to an economy, women are coming up to you. I'll
Yeah.
buy you a drink.
I got you.
You want to go home with me?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't have to have no game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
That's good, man.
and that's what I did. I mean, I treated a whole bunch of women bad, and I overcompensated and pretty much used them.
Sure.
And I mean, I had a lot of relationships that could have probably been good that I ruined.
Mhm.
And I had women who came all the way from the U.S. to Germany to be with me.
Yeah.
And when they got there, I'm like, "Arr."
Yeah, got you.
I mean, I was really bad. I mean, to some point where later on in life, I even contacted some of those people and apologized
Yeah.
because I was like, I was really, really bad.
Yeah, and let me interject here. So what I hear you saying is coming up in a society where your color, your skin was, people saw you as ugly or, you know, not being able to assimilate or associate. And even when you were dating people, people would make remarks about your color, to the place where you even felt bad about who you were as a black man,
Yes.
as a young kid at the time. And no child should have to go through or endure that kind of treatment. That is abuse. And so when we're developing, you got stages of development from childhood to youth and adolescence and all of that. So when a person is having that kind of rejection, that kind of pain, it causes problems as the person is developing. So as a result, as you said, I'm overcompensating now.
Overcompensating.
So now I'm over in Germany now, where it seems like the color of your skin is like milk chocolate butter, baby. And yes, and they was welcoming you in. That's right.
And-
That's right.
and I
Heels to the ceiling. Right.
What you know about that?
What
Chad?
the sound?
I didn't even see that one coming. I didn't see that.
He wasn't always a chaplain.
Stilettos and red bottoms to the ceiling.
Chapel,
Right.
the only thing that made me be like, oh, I never had that before.
Mm.
That'd be a check mark. Like, oh, what are you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Croatian? I ain't never had Croatian. What are
Yeah.
you, Russian? Oh, shit, never had Russian. You a midget? Okay.
Not to mention. Come on.
I mean,
So-
and it was just,
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you sharing, brother.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, it wasn't
Yeah.
about relationship.
You was getting
Yeah.
beamed up.
And me
Yeah.
thinking about it
Sure.
right now, since we're having these conversations,
Yeah.
and you bring it up, what you did before you got straight,
Yeah.
before you got to the point in your life where you stopped doing that stuff. That's what I was doing to pretty much cope with that.
Absolutely.
Man, I went to Chapel went to Korea. You know, Korea had all the throwback jerseys, and man, I came back to New Orleans like one of the Cash Money millionaires.
Yeah.
Man, I was fly as hell. Me and my brother-in-law went to a Burger King, right? And you know, I go up that wall, floss, I got my
Yeah.
chains, got all the nice throwbacks, all the right gear. And this little employee up in there, she saw me, you know, And as we walk into the car, she just sort of out like, hey, I just gotta get your number. Because I mean, I was that guy, you feel
Sure,
me?
absolutely.
Back then, I'm older now.
Absolutely.
I'm out of my prime. But I was that guy right there.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and like I said, I took advantage of what I couldn't have back then, and I had no emotion when it came to people. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't lying to me running no game, but it was just like, there's not gonna be anything serious. Don't even think about it.
You're just up front.
Yeah.
Up front.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a commonality between Soul and Chief. The behavior that we're seeing underneath it, what we're hearing is
Big
there's
chef.
this big chef. Sorry. There is
I almost
this
said that, Chief.
this numbness that happens,
Sure,
that shows up.
Sure.
And that is very common in a lot of situations where abuse is. It shows different. Like when you are angry, right? You can't feel the impact of what you're putting out there, right? So there's a numbness where you can't feel. For you, because it became a point where, you know, I'm overcompensating, I'm not feeling what is happening, I'm not having empathy for the women that I'm with because there's a sense of numbness with that. And just if we bring a, you know, from a woman's perspective, if you dealt with physical abuse, if you, on my case, it was the emotional side of it, and I experienced that same level of numbness, but what it led to for me is more of a sense of codependency, where I kind of got codependent on that, but I wasn't really feeling, it was just me in my head thinking that I couldn't do without this behavior, this situation based on that, or a sense of controlling. And not really feeling like what the actions of controlling is. Because I know a lot of women who undergo abuse, they become very controlling in some of the behaviors that they engage in. There's no feeling what they're doing, right? It might be, I'm gonna keep this child from you, or I'm going to hurt something that you love, like you're, you know, I'm gonna mess up your car, I'm gonna mess up your house, I'm gonna, you know, file a false, even something like something beyond what it might be, I'm gonna take you for everything that you have, because that feeling of like empathizing and it's no longer there when you kind of experience and you don't really go through the work, but that's another impact that's very common among people, is that lack of feeling and that numbness that happens with our emotions.
And usually codependent upon the abuse itself? Or?
Yes, and the person, to where you lose your sense of independence, you lose your sense of identity, you lose your sense of self. I wanted to share, I know we're talking about adults, but just to mention children, you know, some of these same questions, and I work with youth also, and when you think that, you know, we're talking about unpacking years and years, but when a child hasn't had a lot of it, what does that look like for them? It looks like bullying, right? They become the bullies at school because they may be masking some of the same things and not feeling, or they may be people pleasers, where they try their best to please others, whether it be sexually, whether it be this, and so they are now the initiators to older men, possibly if it's a girl, or same thing, right? They're initiating some of this because they want to feel like they want to please someone, because they don't know how to go between this. So I just wanted to kind of mention children in that too.
But that's a good point. And we're coming out of our childhood issues. So as you relate that to children, definitely as we were growing up as children, experiencing these things, now we're adults, you know, having some of the residual pains, the traumas that took place, that we're acting out those things. And you mentioned, Doc, that the numbness that takes place, you mentioned as a woman, not just all women, but just you as a woman, feeling in the sense of now having to control. Do you think your relationships were impacted from past things that you experienced that perhaps placed, because you said your ex-husband, do you think that puts you in a position of a masculine energy, whereas now I have to control him? I have to make sure that this man is going to do what I need for him to do, say what I need him to say metaphorically, because I'm acting out my pain, so therefore I need to control him for who he is.
Yeah, and everybody's situation is different. Mine was a long-term situation since I was 12 with the same person, and
Since you were 12?
And then I was married for 17 years, and so there was a level of control on my part, and without really kind of knowing that, and so it looked pretty awful in regards to using what I can to try to control the situation, because I felt so disempowered in the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you sharing that. And we find that sometimes we can get connected to people in marriage or relationships based out of our situations, out of our traumas. Right? So it's all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. No, cool breeze. Come on,
Well, you
man.
mentioned marriage.
Yeah. You want to say something?
Talking about abuse. Men do go through spousal abuse.
Yeah.
Wow.
That happened to me twice.
Wow.
I was married 2 times. First time, way too young to get married.
Yeah.
18.
How old?
18.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where you get involved with a religious group, pastor's daughter. There's some, can't go into all the details right now. I don't have enough time, but one of those,
Yeah.
not to write a book, man. But it was one of those situations where, we went to school together, got involved with this church thing. Pastor's daughter, very controlling, they were very strict. There were some situations when it come getting his daughter married. I was kind of put into that situation, and I really didn't want to go there, but because of indoctrination.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Can we break that down?
Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is you got married at 18.
Yeah.
It's a pastor's daughter.
Yeah.
Was there a reason why you chose to get married and not say, hey, I don't want to get married?
Well, yeah, there was a reason, but
Okay.
again, it's very deep.
Okay,
And
we got time.
It's abusive. Okay.
We got time.
Well, it was a situation where a lot of these young kids in the church, they get married too early.
Okay, we not talking about the young kids.
No. I get it. But what I'm trying to lay that baseline for the reason why.
Okay.
And it's because of the doctrine of the church.
Okay.
Okay, like they say, it's better to marry than to burn.
Right.
And you don't want these young kids out there in the street having kids out of wedlock.
Okay.
So but that was one reason, right?
Okay, so you're saying, what I hear you saying is that she became pregnant?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, it was a situation where he did not want that to happen.
Okay, got it.
You get what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Without her
Before
being
you
married.
before you be with her, you had to be married.
Yeah, exactly.
Pressure.
So the pressure was to get married.
There you go.
At 18.
But the pressure was with her and another guy.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh.
So he changed his mind on that situation when they were technically engaged.
Mhm.
So another guy was used, that she used to date in high school, was used to move that guy out the way. And then it got to the point where, okay, now they're doing some stuff they shouldn't be doing. Now here I come,
Who's doing some stuff?
the daughter.
The daughter's doing what kind of stuff?
Some sexual innuendo,
Promiscuous.
Yeah, that
You
type
got
of,
to make,
cross
you got
the
to make
line.
it plain.
Right, so and then, but at this time in my development, I did not know this.
Okay.
I was a virgin, so I didn't know anything about
Okay.
relationships.
So what I hear you saying, let me just break this thing down for the people following the story. So you're part of the church, the pastor, the father want his daughter to be able to be married so she's not, having all this passion and burning.
Yes, okay,
Instead of just, hey, just have passion and worry about the burn.
yeah.
That's another story.
Okay,
So,
so,
let me see.
Okay.
So you want his daughter to be married to the person who he chose.
Yes.
So they were engaged, or
Yes.
so that broke up.
mhm,
He moved him. He moved. The pastor moved him out the way,
yes.
and then was setting you up to be with her.
Well, there was another guy that was being
Another
set
guy.
first.
Okay. all right,
Okay,
Yeah.
so some things happened that he found
The third,
out,
he's
and
the
he was
third.
like, okay, now you touched my
Okay.
daughter. Now, I'm not saying
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with that, but it was,
Right.
you touched my daughter in this way, now you have to marry her.
You have to marry.
Told this other guy that.
Okay. The other guy touched her.
So, the guy wasn't having that. He didn't grow up in that church, right? So here, now,
So he deflowered her.
well,
She wasn't already.
Divine touch.
So-
Was this Madonna song? You like Madonna? Like Madonna song touch?
Her heel was in the air.
First time?
well, I can't say that they
Right,
had
okay.
sex or anything, right?
Okay. But you
I
touched.
wasn't there, but something on that level
Right,
happened, right?
right.
Whether it had been foreplay or whatever.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Right.
you try to force that to end up in marriage.
Mhm.
So then, okay, that wasn't working out, now here I come, this innocent young guy, and then it happened through coercion, conviction, and being indoctrinated. So before this marriage happened, I tried to back out of it. I told him I didn't want to do this. I'm not ready.
Gotcha.
Well, you got to because the Bible says such and such and such. Whatever.
Alright.
Okay, me being young and gullible,
Tell me, Christian.
it happened, right? I'm trying to do the right thing, right?
Right.
We never had sex or anything like that.
Okay.
Those things happen after marriage.
Okay.
So, but that situation, it turned out to be hell.
Yeah, okay.
It sounded like dad knew he couldn't control the daughter.
Yeah.
So he got to find somebody to keep on, like, she's gonna be what she's gonna be.
That's it.
So he needs
So
somebody to be an honest woman.
So he
That's what
had
it sounded
total
like.
control
And also to
over
protect
everything in the marriage.
Because he's a pastor.
Yeah.
So you getting abused, man, this is deep.
No, yeah.
So you getting abused from the spiritual side.
From the spiritual
Right, so
side.
spiritual abuse,
And then-
that's a deep level
But
of
then
abuse.
she was
Yeah.
physically abusive. She
Yeah,
was manipulative.
Wow.
And I'm telling you,
She didn't want it.
she was not, at that time, we were young, right? So this goes back to trauma.
Sure.
She was acting out over the physical and mental abuse that she experienced growing up as a kid.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So all this comes to me
Yeah.
in hindsight. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So she became manipulative. She was a cheater
Wow.
habitually, physically abusive, just lies after lies. So after about 5.5 years, it reached its apex. Something had to give.
Yeah,
That giant in the box, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
when she came out confessing about the cheating,
Mm-hmm.
well, by that time we had 2 kids, so I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
So I chose to stay for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so to cover this up, they wanted to concoct a wedding renewal.
Wow.
I didn't
Renew
want to
your
do that.
vows.
I said, no,
Wow.
we have bigger things to worry about.
Mm.
We need to focus on making this thing work.
Yeah.
Not put on a show about a marriage. But that happened, and come to find out, my best man, who was my cousin, he was involved with her.
What does that mean?
Cheating.
Sex. I mean, okay.
Okay?
But what-
Hands up in the air, right? Just seen them.
Man, I don't.
So wow, man, that's so your cousin. So your cousin, wow, that's your best friend. Your cousin. So that's another
So
form.
she
of
was
this-
still in the congregation.
Well, the deacon almost slid between the sheets too, right? But his wife found out.
passing the
So
plate. She
that
passing the plate
happened.
around.
So she was passing the plate. Man, that's
He's
painful.
passing the pussy. That's
Yeah.
what she was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
See y'all. See, Dr. Jennings, you didn't cause my guys to be tame.
It is what it
It is what it is. That's why I was just throwing darts at
Check
you
this
all,
out.
right?
Not only
So,
that,
yeah.
it was, I'm not gonna go into the numbers, but it was people that was close to me too.
Right.
Right? So, that situation, when it all happened,
Man.
after the marriage,
Yeah.
I was done, right?
Oh,
So,
sure.
it reached its apex with her. She was gone.
Yeah.
She left me and the kids.
Wow.
Out in the streets, wherever, no one knew where she was.
She left you and the kids.
But I had to fight in a civil way for my kids every step of the way.
Yeah, man. Wow.
So I was a single parent on a few occasions. So years passed. So how did that affect me? Well, it destroyed the relationship with my cousin, one of my best friends,
Yeah.
and some other people, right? So
Yeah.
my self-esteem was shot.
Yeah.
I became reclusive, so stressed out I had a headache every day for a year. I developed a speech impediment, hypertension.
Yeah.
I was a wreck emotionally.
Yeah.
So when I started to date again or whatever, and got divorced and all that, started to date, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know any other one.
Yeah.
So it was a
You
process.
started dating before you even healed.
Was healed. Yeah. It's not
Exactly. So I was,
That's a good point.
I was so messed up on the spiritual sense, getting beat up from behind the pulpit.
Yeah.
Feeling low. And
That's
fear-based type
that's
things.
tough right there when you
That's
get
tough,
it from the place where you're supposed to go.
Mhm.
When you seek, when you seeking, that
Right.
where you should be receiving healing instead of
Absolutely.
pain.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
I can even
all the
imagine.
blame was on me. So I'm still trying to be a good person, do the right thing.
So
So
we
we
got
got,
that real quick.
yeah.
So you went back to the same church after this?
Well, that's where I was, but after the marriage had stopped,
Yeah.
it was a couple of years before I filed for divorce. But that was the time of I didn't know what to do. My world was like this.
Yeah, that numbness, that codependence.
I didn't know how to move on.
and
Because I was taught that
Yeah.
you can't move on, you marry for life.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
That
Yeah.
spiritual.
But when
Spiritual
I
abuse.
mustered up enough courage to file for divorce, and
Mhm.
once that happened, that gavel dropped, I was born again.
So that's
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, right.
So now my life started from here.
Yeah.
All this is in the past, but it never left.
Nah.
It was
Never
here,
stopped.
it's still here, the
It
hurt.
was
I
not a
tell you,
process.
the scars that we don't see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right,
It was
so
a process.
no
Yeah.
one in that family, that circle, never asked me how I felt about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
It was their way or the highway.
Because they're trying to fix,
Yeah.
you were there to fix his daughter.
They fix his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
He'd already
They
figured
didn't
out,
care what- they didn't care
he figured out
what-
that he
Yeah.
couldn't, he
That
couldn't
wasn't-
control what was
Yeah,
broken.
that
in
wasn't
her.
fixing, that was manipulation.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but his
Yeah.
purpose was to
Yeah.
cover her sins, so to speak.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it
Well, yeah,
was
there was a
never
lot of
about
sweeping
you.
up, sweeping
Yeah, it
under
was,
the
you
rug.
was there
He
to
was-
save his namesake.
No, he was there. No, I'm gonna tell you, he was there because
His image, his ministry,
as a
all
father,
that stuff had to be clean.
but as a father, he was trying to find a guy who he thought, or he
Was
can manipulate to
best.
change her.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it was to change her.
I
I think it was about his namesake.
About
I
his
think
namesake.
that's what he was trying to
It
do.
was that,
Looking at his
it was
daughter,
that.
Yeah.
and he wanted to save his
Yeah.
name.
It could be
They
a
make
lot-
it seem like
yeah.
they're a perfect family.
Perfect family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
what
it
it
was.
had nothing to do with
Yeah,
you.
and it could be a lot of those things, as you're saying, and I'm not gonna throw any of that out, it could be all of those, right? And again, there it is, the hiding, whatever it was that even pastor or that congregation, whatever did,
It was
that the
hiding.
hiding in shame, or hiding of what people think, or hiding of what right should look like, that's a whole lot of work. But man, but Cool Breeze,
Yeah.
so you have that first marriage,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to heal, trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
And so how did you get connected with the second relationship? Because
Okay.
you got remarried.
Well, I went through, dated a few girls, in between all of that, those years. The second marriage happened in 2014. So you're talking from 1996, I think the first divorce was 2003,
Yeah.
January. And then those years passed, got remarried in 2014.
Yeah.
So 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, about 10 years, a little bit more.
So
maybe.
2014 remarried.
Yeah.
Then how long did you last? in
Oh,
this
that
relationship?
was a flash in the pan.
Okay.
You know, she wasn't ready.
Okay.
You know, it just
I got
didn't
you.
work.
I
Nothing
got
bad
you.
happened. Well, she
Yeah.
did turn out to be abusive,
Mhm.
but she had her own issues.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tap into that because we never started.
Got you.
You know.
No, I only have one
So
question.
let me say something. So 2014, how you got divorced? When did you get divorced?
2016.
So a couple years.
Well,
Yeah.
on paper,
Got you.
but within a couple months, it was over.
It was over. Okay.
Had you done any healing before that second marriage?
I did. It took a long time for me to find who I was. It was a long journey of healing.
Okay, well,
I've always been the pleaser.
Yeah.
Going into relationships, trying to do everything right
Yeah.
with the knowledge and what I had at the time.
Got you.
But at the same time, I thought that I could help fix whoever I was dealing with
I got you.
because some of those people were broken themselves.
Exactly.
So, but I wasn't
Yeah.
fixed for
I got you.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I just had to learn how to read women, how to deal with them, and I tried to love them the best that I could.
Yeah, and Doc, I want to jump in, fellas. Sometimes, based upon what we have seen in our families, in our moms or dads, or experiences, we now become the person who try to take on their burdens, right? And then we try to marry someone who kind of models what we have experienced. I'm gonna give you an example, and I want y'all to, get back in the ring, put the gloves on. And I share this with you all. You know the story. I'm not a mama's boy, but I love my mom. She was beautiful. She was amazing, right? I'm the firstborn too, and so I watched this beautiful, beautiful 5'9", beautiful woman experience relationships that broke her heart, and she brought some of the stuff. So she's not totally innocent. I don't think no women are totally innocent. So she brought some of her pain too. But I watched her, again, guys, men, Carl, I can't speak for all men, but Carl as a man have a natural tendency to want to protect the woman. and all of those things. So to watch my mom, this beautiful woman, start experiencing relationships that caused her to slowly go into a demise. My dad, sharp dresser, always smelled good. He's that dude. By the time he left the block, he didn't said hello to everybody. Everybody knew my dad, right? So everybody knew my dad.
Okay.
You know?
We get it.
Yeah. So
Like,
here it
take
is.
this off,
Yeah,
right?
man. Did it. Y'all know. Come and sing with me.
This hat was his home.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I actually went the opposite, right? So to watch my mom and my sisters, relationships, I went to the place whereas I wanted to be in the relationships, monogamous relationships, even if they lasted for 2 weeks, or Big Chef said, even if it lasted for a couple days, right? Yeah, what? Right, so I found myself in that position. So again, our past traumas, our past lives can impact us in various ways, man. So we have to take that time to address those areas of brokenness and do the deep level work to go toward healing.
You know, you bring up the point about your mother's abuse.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are really like, we don't understand the abuse that we see,
Sure.
like that others go through. Like I see my mother with her eyes punched shut,
Yeah.
jaws wired, wired closed, or stitches
Yeah.
across her neck and stuff
Sure.
like that. So to grow up in a household where you see your mother used as a punch bag
Yeah, wow.
is,
Man.
I didn't know the effect it was having then.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't become an abuser.
Yeah.
Not a physical abuser.
Sure,
I won't
sure.
say that I'm a clean slate where I don't have any faults, but I can say that I did become what I saw
Yeah.
because I never normalized it. And I can say I had every intention of killing this guy.
Yeah. I got you.
From the time probably my baby sister was about 10 years younger than me, and probably it was her father that used my mom as a punch bag.
Yeah. Wow.
And I joined the military. I decided in the 6th grade that I was going to
That
the
you were
military.
leaving.
I was going. That's what when you talk about getting away from it all, or hiding. At 12 years old, I knew I was leaving my hometown,
I got you.
and nothing was stopping me from leaving that place. But one thing in the back of my mind was I'm coming back to get this individual. And thank God he moved on to the next life before I got back, because there's nothing in me to believe I wouldn't have followed through with my
I got you.
intentions.
Yeah. How did that affect you in your relationships, Cowboy?
In my relationships,
We call my man Cowboy. This Cowboy, that's Chef, that's Cool Breeze, that's Soul. Dr. Jennings, who we gonna call you? Doc.
died. Yeah.
Okay.
In my relationship, I'll say the effect was
Dr. J, I like that.
Superstar.
Yeah.
I knew how to keep my hands to myself, but I didn't necessarily know how to love a woman.
I got you.
That was probably because
Yeah.
I never got that example. My parents divorced early, so and I grew up with a bunch of aunts. My mom had 4 sisters and 1 brother, so I grew up around women.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the male route
Right.
of nurturing a relationship, because I didn't have a true male role model
Yeah.
growing up and stuff like that. So I was flying blind. I'm in a relationship just feeling my way through.
Sure.
To me, it was like, as long as I'm not physically abusive, I'm not doing bad.
Yeah.
I
It
said
was it was so I probably wasn't as nurturing, as understanding that I could have been in a relationship, but I wouldn't punch nobody in the face. I wasn't doing what I saw. So in my eyes, I was succeeding to a degree.
Yeah,
I can change the
Can I say something?
relationship.
real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna jump on that too.
Yeah.
My mom was the opposite.
You can't be face
My mom was more emotional and psychologically abused by the man in her life. It wasn't,
Was that your dad or?
no, oh hell no. Oh hell no. When I moved to my mom in Michigan, and when my grandfather passed away, we had to move with my mom. So I ended up moving back with my mom, and this guy was, they'd been together for years or whatever, and he wasn't a man to me.
Right.
And I watched everything he did to her. When he wasn't around, My mom would get dressed, she'd go out, she'd have, a smile on her face and everything. When he was around, it was always in a room, or it was always she wouldn't dress, it was just like he put a toll on her. And I ended up doing, so like we were talking about before, like you said, I was raised by mostly women.
Yeah.
My mom, my aunt, my cousins, sisters, everything. And what I learned was I wanted to show women what a good man's supposed to be. But same thing you said, but I didn't know how to commit. Like I didn't know how to commit to these women. And I used to always have a saying, I used to always tell a woman this when I met her. Never tell me you love me until I tell you first. Because my thing is I want you to understand what this is. And I used to always say that. And I used to always think the same thing. Well, I've never hit a woman in my life, so I'm good.
Yeah.
But then I was just talking about this yesterday where I look back and I say, well, maybe I wasn't as good as I thought I was because, they felt certain ways. But when I felt my job was done, I literally like I showed you what a good man is supposed to do. I treated you like a queen. I gave you the world. I did everything for you. My job is done, and I move on. And I did, and I would do that, and that's how. And it's crazy, but that's how I end up in a situation because of the same reason where it's like, okay, I gotta protect my woman from what's going on, so I have to do this in order to protect her. And it's always, and that's how I end up being because it's like I love black women. I love because I was raised by a number of black women, so I always want to make sure that they receive the best from us as men. So I always feel it's my job to make sure this woman see the best in a black man. Because you always see, men ain't shit, and men, ain't no good men out there, blah, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'm a good man. And I want to show you what a good man is, and that's what I would do.
So you're doing the pleasing part.
Right. It was
doing pleasing, but you didn't have.
I didn't know how to commit to. Right. I'm like a little bit of both of them. Like I'm here, but I'm here to show you what a good man is. But I can't commit to you. So when I feel my job is done with you, like
we're done.
Yeah, I'm done, and I will. I move on to the
And
next.
let me say this then too, right? Because this could be a whole nother conversation about abuse, and we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes because here it is that we have a sister here, a woman here. Sometimes being raised by a woman, Rollo Tomasi, others out there in the manosphere, and writers, when we look at this piece here, there's certain energy that men bring, period. There's certain testosterone, there's certain energy that, man, you bump up against another brother, all of that, we go ahead, you can hit me back, man. We need that, right? So when you have that absence, that can be a form of abuse as well. So the woman is loving us the best way she know how, which is beautiful. Like a woman. Like a woman. But she can't, she cannot. Period. So with that, what I hear our stories is that